And we're live. Welcome back, everyone. I know I've been away for a I feel like it was a long time. It's been 2 weeks since I did a live stream. I wanted to hop on in there. As you know, I'm well dressed because I kind of just came from work, but the grind don't stop, right? So today's topic of today's live stream is our knowledge system is a massive problem in our Western society. Now, why is that, Kenny? Why is our knowledge system such a problem in our current state of the union? Is because our experts are heavily biased. Now, I put up, if you've been following my recent videos, I've been putting out this stat that I've recently found that most experts on misinformation, disinformation are heavily towards the left. And this kind of idea got reinforced because of what's going on with NPR, the new CEO, how this veteran reporter kind of exposed or confirmed what we've all been thinking, what people in their hearts know. And this is why trust the science has become such a meme in our culture today, right? Trust the science. All the experts agree. Well, not all of us. Canceled. All the experts agree. So essentially, it's the communist approach, right? You just eliminate all those who oppose you, all those who don't toe the same line until you get homogeny. Ideological homogeny. And this is what's going on in our institutions such as our college universities. This is what's currently going on right now. 12-to-1 ratio. Corporate America is becoming the same way, overwhelmingly liberal, right? Because of DEI, which is, in my view, a concept of Marxism where they're using this to kind of solidify further their ideological hold on corporate America and various institutions where they try to implement this stuff. This is why they don't put DEI for the NBA, because from a Marxist point of view, from the leftist point of view, the NBA is a liberal institution. So therefore it doesn't need DEI. It's already diverse, right? Because the actors that are part of the NBA, these people consider it, oh, these are our kin, these are our people. Why would we want anything? Why would we want to fix anything? Just like feminists. Feminists overwhelmingly go to college. Feminists are bragging about how medical school will always be, will forever be female dominated. You think, but they're about equality. Do you think they want to push equality for college male attendance? No, they only want dominance. Once they get the institution, once the institution is controlled by their people, they don't want to fix it anymore. Oh, it's not a problem anymore. Oh, we're just doing our best. You know, these things take time. But when it's their opposition or their perceived enemy, oh, they want DEI fast and hard. 22 Guru says, Kenny is the man. Glad to see you, brother. You know what's up. Hey, I appreciate the compliment, 22 Gurus. I know it's been a while. I know I haven't even getting into chat comments lately, but I promise over the weekend I'll go over all the 80 comments that I missed so far. And my thing, oh my God, guys, like, yo, ain't your guys week today. Like my stream thing is not working at all. So now I have to do everything from the keyboard. So if I look kind of, out of it, that's probably why. So on the next one, right, I want to put up another thing. Thomas Sowell, my favorite academic. I love quoting this man. I believe that he is a big part of why I guess I'm more right-leaning than I am. I think naturally I was a centrist, center-right person. But I think Thomas Sowell and reading his material really drove me into accepting or being more confident in my conservatism, because I believe in national conservatism. I don't believe in no regular smuggler conservatism, because I believe literally the only way you can, I guess, harness big tent conservatism, because that's a problem a lot of conservatives have been talking about. And then I'll get back to the quote from Thomas Sowell. I notice a lot of big conservatives are kind of angry about the fact that right now in 2024, Trump kind of brung in this big tent conservatism, and it brings its own problems to the plate, right? You got a lot of people who are more liberal in their mindset feigning as themselves as conservative, right? We've been seeing this a lot over the conservative movement. We got people like Dave Rubin, who was considered a liberal 25 years ago, but now he's considered on the right. And I don't know why. I don't think it's a smart strategy by the Democrats and the left to make common sense synonymous with the right. I think that's a bad strategy. Just me, right? And I honestly believe that this is the path forward, honestly. And I think national conservatism is the way of really reorienting the big tent conservative party that we have right now, because we are a big tent conservative. Like, the current political landscape is classical liberals, conservative, and then independents, moderate people are now in the conservative party, in the Republican Party, because the left decided that common sense is now right leaning. Democrat. This is why I said there's no reason for anyone to vote Democrat at this point. We will make it's the Republican Party. Republican is going to be a one party system. I don't know. A part of me thinks there's two scenarios that can happen after, in my future, right? Like 20 years from now, I'm thinking like more long term. This is just Kenny's theory about politics. Bear with me. Let's see where it goes. Let me know in the comment section you agree with me. You kind of have your own theories. I like to hear it in the comment section, in the chat, if you want in mind. But my theory is we might revert back to a one party system again. Now, I'm believing this one party system is going to be the Republican Party, right? Because it's already happening. You got classical liberals, you got moderates, you got conservatives, all jumbled up in one party, to the point where we're fighting more than ever, right? We had abortion on the ballot for Kansas, Alabama, Ohio, all these other red states, and none of them passed. Why? Because the Republican Party is a big tent party right now. It has so much warring factions in it. Is that it's not enough. It's not cohesive enough to actually do anything that will tilt it to more of the ideological ideals of the conservative movement, right? This is why we can't strive for. This is why you see Carrie Lake being more neutral on pro-life, because big tent conservatism, and that's what we need to win. So I think in the future we may be a one-party state again, and it's just going to be like, oh, I'm a liberal Republican, I'm a conservative Republican. It might turn out like that, or sounds like the more probable situation. More third-party candidates pop up, and it starts dividing the factions within into the two parties. Start actually separating themselves from the bigger players and create their own distinction. But to me, all this have to happen at the same time, because if you do a third party, if you create a third party only for one side, you're just giving the other side, the more centralized or the more united party, more power. So for this to work, for this to happen, I think it needs to happen at the same time. The progressive left needs to be like, hey, we're the progressive party. And then on the right, people who are the more populist will say, hey, we're the National Populist Party. I think this stuff needs to happen at the same time to make it fair. Long-winded way of saying this, but let's get back to the topics at hand. So, Dharma's Soul quote, I like this quote: we are living in an era when sanity is controversial and insanity is just another viewpoint, and degeneracy only another lifestyle. Wow. Right? It's true. Like, conservatives want to get mad about, like, Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's been coming up on the news lately. I think it's because Ben Shapiro's been slamming him as a grifter. Conservative women never really liked Andrew Tate. I think the only conservative woman that really was sympathetic to Tate was Candace Owens, right? And it got me thinking about how we have more, like, in our society today, people have more smoke or more issue with you if you opine on the culture from a Christian perspective. But if you're coming here, open relationship, you want to have multiple wives, you want to smash 50 women, all right? No one has a problem else. Oh, that's just his viewpoint, whatever. Christians or religious people never get that courtesy. They always get, oh, you just try to control people. Why you want people to live the way you do? Can I make the same argument for people who push poly relationships, who tries to normalize you being a dude sleeping with a trans woman and then claiming you're not gay? Aren't they kind of doing that in the same mode? Aren't they pushing people to accept or at least be open to this sort of lifestyle? But when a Christian come out here and say, hey, I think we need to be more modest. I think you need to stop hooking up with random guys you just met on the culture. Oh, you're a prude. Oh, you're just trying to control women's bodies. Oh, you're not comfortable in your sexuality. But people who are just blatantly just like, you think they have a sex addiction out here. Oh, I'm smashing 50 women. People have more tolerance for that than they do somebody who wants people to live in a modest moral culture. Like, we honestly lived that day. And I don't know when Thomas Sowell made this quote. I'm pretty sure this comes from one of his books. But I believe it's even worse in 2024. Now you got women complaining about hookup culture, TikTok trends, about women regretting one night stands. And I'm like, yo, if you just listen to the Bible, you think you'll be happier than you are today? Women complaining about how, I'm traumatized by sex because every person I dated was a man, and they traumatized me with sex. And I'm like, but you chose that though. You picked these people. It's a two-way street. They didn't get there by themselves. You allowed them into your life. That means there's something about you where you don't filter these people out. But instead of accepting personal responsibility, a lot of people are looking for things to blame. And I think this is due to our flawed knowledge system. Now, I'm done with my little introduction, really, or me trying to warm up. And I want to hit out this first point. You know where I'm going with this. If you've been following my channel, there's 3 issues that I kind of usually hover around. Usually it's socialism, history, race. Race, yes. Climate change is another one that I feel like knowledgeable about, that I really go against the grain. And this is one of the biggest gripes that I have with our current knowledge system, is that they've been talking about climate change, greenhouse gases for 60 years. Yes, you heard me correctly. If you're a millennial, you're Gen Z, climate change is not this new thing that just happened that became hip with the cool kids. No. Climate change has been something that these experts, who I will say is politically on the left, has been pushing this worldview onto the youth. They educated. These ideas don't come out of nowhere. We didn't get this stuff. I feel like at this point, academia made an intentional effort to put these issues on the forefront of people when you're at your most impressionable. Right? It started in elementary school when they say, oh, clean up after yourself. Oh, put your plastic bags in the recycling bin. Take care of the space. Oh, the plants can't live. Oh, we got to take care of our planet. And then it evolved into, now you worship the planet like a pagan religion. And this is a lot of things about wokeism, and I've been saying this for a long time. Wokeism is a religion. In this atheistic age we're living in, right? People are the least religious they ever been. People have replaced their religion with ideology. Regardless if you're a Christian or not, I take the Bible as a claim, as an argument. The Bible says you cannot destroy God. You merely replace him with something else. God said, if you don't worship me, you worship being somebody. Ain't our culture look like today that people are worshiping their ideology? People are worshiping their politics. For some people, politics is their entire life. Politics is not my entire life. It's just an aspect of me. I could talk about cultural issues. I could talk about things without going into a political lens. But in this day and age, especially on the left, they're so fanatic about their politics is that it's like a religion, right? Christianity, my religion is who I am. My religion is part of me. The left, my politics is part of me. I can't date a man that don't see the worldview the same way as me. If you're not leftist women, Democrat women will not date a dude that votes for opposition party. Imagine that. Just like Christian women wouldn't date a dude that is not in the church or doesn't see Christianity or who's not a practicing Christian. Women are basing their dating options based on ideological, political affiliation. It used to be normal in the 90s, right? My parents met in the 90s. Both of them had polar opposite views in politics. My mom was a Democrat, dad was a Republican. You think that can happen? Relationships like that can happen in 2024? Less likely. Back in the day, America had a more common foundation. And I think that's what we have lost in our culture. This is why our culture has become so partisan. Why our politics has become so partisan. Why we're starting to get separated and divided into echo chambers. Because divide and conquer, it's working. We're dividing ourselves based on our ideology, based on our race, some people. And I think the main problem is the fact that people have made politics their entire life. Politics has become a religion in 2024. The same way, imagine that. A Christian woman will say, hey, I don't want to date someone who doesn't believe in my faith. You said, acceptable. 2024, women now are saying, I don't want to date a man that doesn't believe in my politics. And you're going, how close-minded are you? But in the 90s, it used to be normal. It used to be normal that your mom was a Democrat and your dad was a Republican. It used to be normal that two people of opposite political opinions can date and marry each other and not let it get in the way of their relationship. In 2024, that's not possible anymore. This is why everyone's so scared, and this is why everyone's so scared about the dating options of Gen Z. Because Gen Z men are more moderate. I don't care about what this. Gen Z men are not more. Actually, they are. They're more conservative than they're liberals. Yes, but majority of Gen Z men are moderates. That means they're independents. That's what I'm talking about. This is where I went with my point with the big tent conservatism. But after this long ass rant that I just did, sorry guys, I'm trying to warm up. My first stream back after my birthday, I'm really trying to get like back into the swing of things. So let's go into one example, climate change, and shows how flawed our knowledge system has become in the West, where we're really just rehashing old talking points, but thinking it's a new thing. I digress. Let's get into the video.
Report today predicted possible catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with a strong climate change.
The so-called greenhouse effect, the warming of the Earth's atmosphere due to the burning of coal and oil.
If these scientists are correct, about 25% of Florida would be flooded, along with low-lying areas all over the world. Climate changes could produce widespread disruption of agriculture. The American farm belt might be too dry, and the wheat and corn crops would have to move to Canada. Scientists blame the odorless, colorless carbon dioxide gas for these potentially dangerous changes around the planet. Now, some political leaders endorse the demands for more CO2 monitoring stations, like this one in Hawaii. And they share the anger of the scientists at Reagan administration budget cuts at a time when they feel closer to getting definitive answers.
Now, I wanted to ask you a question about climate alarmists, right? Because this is the problem with our knowledge system, right? Our media, our news people, they're supposed to be the ones that distributes information, right? And if these people are, this is why everyone has a problem with NPR. If these people are going out of their way not to put certain experts on the mainstream media line, not pushing them on the media, not letting them get national attention, all I have to do is look at history. I just told you my favorite author when it comes to politics, history, economics, Thomas Sowell. How come many people first time finding out about Thomas Sowell is on the internet? Because mainstream media has kind of sheltered him off. They're like, oh, hell no. We don't want people to get exposed to his ideas. We don't have anyone on our ideological camp that can really contend with this man. Let's not give him any attention. Let's not give him any room to breathe. And he's effectively been shut out. If a dude go to college. Look, simple question. Go to college. And this is why one of the reasons why I don't really respect a college education anymore, because it doesn't open you up to the world. It doesn't make you more knowledgeable. It just conditions you in a certain worldview. Ask any economics major, hey, do you know who Thomas Sowell is? Bet you they'll say no. Do you know who Hayek is? Bet you they'll tell you no. Right? But my little book here, I have a little book here. This is why I say self-education is worth its weight in gold. This is why Frederick Douglass says that a man who can read is forever free. Why does he say that? Imagine, it may sound like a simple thing, like, of course, being educated, of course you're free. No one can deceive you. No one can con you, right? But the idea is that self-education is so liberating that no one can pigeonhole or channel your curiosity. When you go to college, when you go to these schools, they literally rip the curiosity out of you. They make learning so drudgeless, so unbearable, so boring that you associate negative things with learning. Self-education is made its wealth in gold. Because with self-education, you essentially dictate what you can learn without a gatekeeper. And I think this could be the cure to solving our knowledge problem, because the knowledge system, the reason why it's flawed, the reason why it's a major problem in our country right now is because the institutions that kind of gatekeep these experts, right? I showed you in the intro, you saw it in my thing. Hey, all experts agree that climate change is a problem. Well, not all of us agree that climate change is a problem. Some experts say climate change alarmists are exaggerating problems and statistics. 2023, we had our hottest year ever. Do you know what the degree was? 1 degree higher. You know, our average was like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. But our hottest year ever, 2023, was 1 degree hotter than it was a couple years ago. And climate alarmists are going, oh my God, global warming. Some experts are saying that climate change shouldn't be as catastrophic. I don't know how to say it, but they dramatize the impact of, or the trends that they see in statistics, which makes no sense. Climate danger is more of a threat than climate change. Climate change is fine. Climate change has been happening since pretty much before we even start documenting our existence on the earth. The earth used to be completely ice. Are we in climate change now? Like, when was the climate at its best? When was the original state of the climate? I'm waiting. This experts that challenge the climate change agenda and saying, hey, human flourishing relies on humans controlling their environment, because the natural state of things is detrimental to human existence. Like, imagine if we didn't, industrialize our land space, our spaces and stuff. We'll be dealing with snakes, trees. Nature came to kill us as humans. Human survival relies on our fact of our ability to change our surroundings, to change the environment. We bend the environment to our will to help us prosper. But if you take away, clean energy, fossil fuels, you're burning too much fuels, you're warming the planet. Well, isn't a warmer climate more preferable than a colder climate? Which climate is better for humans? A cold climate or a warm one? A warm one. More people died of cold weather than warm weather. But climate change, oh my God, it's getting hot. It's the hottest year ever. We're 1 degree higher than it was last year. And you want me to stress out about that when we have AC, we have air conditioning. Human innovation. This is why I'm with Elon Musk when it comes to like population. Like, I feel like we should be overpopulating the planet, right? If there was 1 trillion people, we would have 1,000 Mozarts. It's like the draft. You increase your odds of success the more people you bring in your house, right? Oh, I'm eventually hire a good person if I keep hiring people. But we have this restrictive philosophy because these communists or these socialists use climate change as an excuse, as a pretext to justify giving government more control over capitalism, over private citizens, right? Oh, you can't drive your gas-powered car because you're spreading too much carbon in the air. But in the same breath, John Kelly, I believe Biden's energy exec or a climate secretary or a climate czar, flying around in private airplanes, burning I don't know how much oil. But us little people, oh no, we're not supposed to turn on our cars too much. In Ireland, they want to remove tires for some reason because they notice that people aren't buying hybrid and electric cars as to their expectation. They've been pushing electric cars in our faces for years, giving us incentives to buy green energy electric cars. No one biting for it because electric cars are expensive. Only rich people can afford electric cars. When we were complaining about in 2021, we were complaining about the record high gas oil prices. What they told you to do? What the Democrats told y'all to do? Go buy you an electric car. Oh, must be nice. You can just drop 50, 60, sometimes 6 figures on a new car to avoid gas. That's what they tell you. Climate change is just, this is why they dramatize it. This is why they put all this, oh my God, we're going to die in 12 years. Put Greta Thunberg, how dare you? Make you fear-mongering. We're not going to have a planet left. You're going to you destroy my dreams. They hit you with all this emotionalism. You know what they say when they know someone's trying to con you? When they try to make you make a decision quickly. That's how you know when someone's trying to con you. Oh, you got to give us government power? We got 12 years to fix this. 12 years later, hey, we're still here. Exaggerating the problem. Climate change isn't a problem. Climate danger is a problem. If you show me how dangerous the climate is, if it hits 1 degree hotter, I might believe you. But it's going to be a hard argument to make. We have AC. We have technology. Like, imagine this. People thinking about, oh, we could cure cancer one day. But you think that if, let's say global warming is a thing, you don't believe in the human mind's ability to adapt to our environment, which has been the human condition since time immemorial, since the conception of human history. That's all humans been doing. Adapt or die. That's it. So if the climate change does, let's say we have global warming. Let's say it's 1,000 degrees hotter. You don't think we'll have technology to survive going forward? You don't think we'll create something or invent something to counteract the climate change? But you wanted me to give my power, my freedom, my decision makings to a centralized, incompetent government that can't even manage foreign wars properly. That every time our government gets involved in a war, you end up creating an even bigger bad guy. How, Sway? How you do that? Perfect example, Israel. Oh, we use Hamas to I forgot what they did, to delegitimize Palestine, so the world stage never recognized them as a legitimate state or country. Then they turn on us, and then they end up hitting us with October 7th years later. And then U.S. finds out that it funded both Hamas and Israel. So our tax dollars funnel two different sides that escalate into this war that we're dealing with in 2024. And the same government want us to give them control and want us to give control over our private lives, what we can't or can't do to them. That's what I'm saying. This is why they appeal to emotionalism. Sure, they blow it all up out of proportion. That's they do. Is it your patriotic duty to spread the truth and participate in a culture war when the ramifications can negatively affect your soul and mental health? Possibly 22 Guru. I always thought about that too. But I think that's why I don't really do videos on the weekends, because I feel like it allows me to take time for myself and just read, spend time with my family. I think it's mainly my family. I think the fact that I have young kids and I'm thinking about, wait, what kind of country I'm gonna leave behind? Because my personal belief as a parent is that I want to leave my family in a better situation than I came into it. I came into it, separated parents, immigrant parents. In one generation, I think I'm doing pretty well for myself. I think I'm doing way better than my parents. So my kids will have a bigger advantage than I had growing up. And I wish and I hope that they carry on that kind of tradition. I think that's the kind of tradition I want to do. I want to be a trendsetter. 22 Guru says, I'm in Michigan and there's a struggle for poor people to get through the winter when parpling is high. Yep. Oh, Michigan. I feel you guys in Michigan, man. I feel like, that's what's going to happen to America as a whole, too. Because if our government F up America, you're gonna see large swath of people leaving. And the reason why Michigan can't afford clean water is that there's not enough people. They don't have much of a population to properly divvy up the tax burden or the costs across the whole infrastructure. That's why New York, they can afford putting all this infrastructure or tax people to death, is because they're so densely populated for their square feet. It makes no sense. Like, transportation is cheap because the government is able to subsidize it because there's so much people, so much tax revenue that they can pull from the population. While Michigan, because of the auto, you guys are that economy was so heavily tied to the auto industry. And when the jobs went overseas, so did the people too, because people can only live in areas where they can provide themselves a life, I guess, where they can work. And this is why I'm a big proponent of opportunity zones. This is why I like Donald Trump, because if Donald Trump say, hey, you get a 10% tax break if you station your headquarters in Flint, Michigan. Okay, companies will be rushing because they want to take advantage of that incentive. And what that business is going to bring is jobs, an economy, more taxes to do what? Build your infrastructure. On a local level, politics is fine. I think politics is still pure on a local level. Like here in my district where I live at, we have high taxes. No one likes our taxes in my district. I don't know why. It's expensive. I pay like $7,000. No, not $7,000. That's a little much. I pay like $6,000 on property taxes. But a portion of our property tax goes to funding some security fund for public safety officers, for armed public safety officers. And I'm like, hey, okay, I can use my tax for that. I'm fine with that. And these are the kind of things that you can do on a local level. And I think that's why I think local politics should be more important to people than national politics. Because I think national politics is tainted, bro. It's tainted. It is tainted. Oh my, sometimes, bro, it's dramatized. But hey, I digress. Let's get back into this point. But all our flawed knowledge system, I think the number one perpetrator is our education system, and then it's our media. Because of what I stated before in my channels about journalism, the most liberal profession in America, overwhelmingly left. A conservative journalist is a endangered species in journalism, and their bias bleeds into what they want to cover and what they don't want to cover. They don't want to cover things that's inconvenient to them. They don't want to cover how climate change is only 1 degree hotter. What they do want to cover, or how they do want to frame the information, is it's the hottest year ever. But they don't tell you that our average is like 0.2. This has been going on for decades, right? But I digress.
We are not doing the kind of research that we should be doing to determine whether or not these scientists who are so alarmed are correct in their assessment.
And
Exactly.
what they find out will affect the lives and fortunes of millions of people, the very survival of cities like this one.
There is not a crisis. See, this is the problem I have. I don't think the Earth is fragile. I don't think the ecology is fragilely balanced. And I think that the doomsday industry that is typified by members of the Hollywood acting community who say we've only got 10 years left to save our planet, we've got to act now. There's no way, if what these people say is true, that we can solve these problems in 10 years anyway. There are as many scientists...
God rest his soul, Rush Limbaugh, bro. I hope I have as much of an effect as this man had, bro. Like, this is what the mainstream media, this is why the mainstream media care about censorship. This is why they censorship. Because if they don't censor voices, if too many people listen to a Rush Limbaugh, a Thomas Sowell, a Kenny, Talks to Kenny, it will change it will change literally you lying about this. Oh, what about these facts here? Hey, what about this information over here? Because at the end of the day, my philosophy is I want to go by how it was back in the day when I believe, you know what I think was the best time in our country? The early 2000s. Regardless of Obama, Bush, your dealings with them, I felt like culturally that was I remember those days fondly. I'm happy that I was born in 1996 because those were the best days. Those were things made sense. Don Lemon made sense. He was telling black people to put their pants up, focus on getting education, stop having kids out of wedlock. Don Lemon used to say that in the 2000s. Now in the 2020s, he crazy. Pushing ideological bias framings, right? Because the truth is inconvenient to what they want to do. That is the reality of the Democrats. That is the reality of the left. The truth is inconvenient to these climate alarmists. These climate alarmists get money. They get fame. They get recognition for pushing this theory, for pushing this worldview. And if they stop, they lose all that. That's too much of an incentive for people to stop. So what they do, they lie, or they mischaracterize, or they try to demonize, discredit the opposition. Oh, they're conspiracy theorists. How people saying that we're gonna die in 12 years because of climate change? We're gonna evaporate into blue smoke. How these people are not called climate change? How these people are not called conspiracy theorists? But the people who question them are called conspiracy theories. The people who are skeptical of experts are called conspiracy theories. Make it make sense. This is why these people focus on their credentials. This is why people flex their authority. Because they realize that's the only fallacy that they have. The fallacy of authority. All these experts say that climate change is a thing. Climate change is a major concern. You don't trust in science. You mean I don't trust in your bias? I don't trust in your framing? I don't think the science says what you think it says. That's the kind of skepticism that they hate. And this is why I think I push, I try my best to, educate people. I think this is why my videos are so long. Because I don't want it to be I do maybe 15-minute video. And then someone says, oh, well, you forgot about this. And I knew of it, but I didn't say it in the video because I was trying to save on time. And I just accept it. I just accept that I'm a ramble. I just accept that I'm a rant. And I just hope you guys find it informative and indicative. I'm going to let this video play out for the entire rest of the video. Just to show this video right here is the main reason why the left love censorship. Why the left needs censorship. Because they can't let information that counters their worldview, that counters their framing of events, that counters the path that they want to go down. They can't let it be openly accessible. They have to make it as hard to access as possible to disincentivize people from disseminating it and spreading it. This is why they focus so hard on canceling people. This is why they focus so hard on academia when they pressure people that, oh, hey, your study doesn't make sense. how can you say that police are more rough with black people, but when it comes to shooting, they don't kill black people at the same rate they do with white people? How can you put a policy like, how can you put a finding like that? The study doesn't make sense. Don't publish it, or else you might lose your job. Roland Fryer, as my prime example of this. This is why they focus so hard on academia. Why researchers complain time and time again that if they bring out any studies that go counter to the narrative, to the perceived or popular notion or assumption of the day, they lose credibility, they get slandered, they get destroyed in the media, they get chastised, they get removed from their position, because they can't let someone in academia spread the fact that, oh, natural immunity is a thing. No, we can't let them say that. This is how a flawed knowledge system end up into people's destruction. I'm gonna stop talking now because I need to take a break.
Maybe even more on the opposite side of all of these doomsday predictions, and I think that
That's
they need
not
to be listened
true.
to. Yeah, oh yes, there are.
That's not true. If I can
You're right.
jump in there, Ted, where the ozone hole is concerned, for example, the linkage between these chemicals, chlorofluorocarbons, and the ozone hole is established. There may be 1/100th of 1% of the scientific community that disputes it.
Oh, no. It's far more than that. But the environmental movement, as fueled by the militants who lead it, I think is the new home of socialism.
There is a 75% chance that the entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months.
I love it when they make claims like this, right? You see it, 2009. Dems predict climate collapse by 2013. What are they trying to do with it? They're not trying to tell you the truth. They're not trying to save the planet. They're trying to, hey, give us power so we can solve this problem. And then, let's say we did. Let's say America fell for it and said, oh, here, Democrats, here, all the power you need. They socialize they nationalize everything because they need to control everything to make sure that we all move to electric buildings. We're not powering things by gas. And then when 2013 we're still here, they're going to take credit for it and say, oh, look, you see, if it wasn't for our drastic action, we may not be alive right now. But what happened? American people go, you trying to blow smoke up my ass, Al Gore. You speaking all that nonsense, Al Gore. And then what happened? 2013? We in 2024. Did the ice cap melt? No. They can't take credit for it, but this is their tactic. Rush you in, get you to do something, and then take credit for it after. Make it make sense. The planet is more likely to freeze than it is to overheat. Hey, originally, depending on how far back you go, Mr. Tim, I think I say Meyer, that's the thing how you're saying his name. Depending on how far back you go, the entire Earth used to be covered in ice. I'm just saying. So what, like, acts of climate change. Okay, when was the planet at its original natural state? When it was all ice? When it was majority water? When was it? And then you find out it's just subjective. Oh, I think it's too hot. Who are you to decide? You're just a human being like me. You're just a speck of dust that's not going to be here for in the next 70 years. Like, how you know what is the correct way that the planet should be? Socialists, that's an authoritarian mindset. Society should be this way. And I know what's best for society. I know what's best for the planet. It's too hot. Like, it's based in authoritarianism. That's why I'm saying climate change is really just an excuse mechanism to justify giving to pushing the country down socialism, centralizing power into a select few people's hands so they can dictate what society should and shouldn't do for a fake problem. That's what I'm thinking. Yep, Jordan Peterson laid it out pretty well. Many people have called this out about the climate change agenda. That is just merely a power grab. What tyrants say? Tyrants don't say, I want to rule the world with an iron fist. Tyrants tell you, I'm here to help you. I'm here to make your life better. I'm here to cure cancer, says Joe Biden. I'm never going to let that gaff go. If you elect me, I'll cure cancer. Joe Biden said that. And if we keep going, if we keep allowing this flawed knowledge system to perpetrate in our culture, in our country, right? This is why we want open debate. Because regardless of what side you vote for, what side you on, if you have an open debate, I believe if you could, I wish they put a study on this. People who are exposed to open debate versus people who are not exposed to open debate. I bet people who are exposed to open debate are smarter on average than people who are not or who are in an echo chamber. And that's what they're scared of. That's why they don't mainstream debates anymore. And this is what I like to do. I like to go back in our past, right? And this is why I love YouTube, right? YouTube is an archive. YouTube is the is the college of self-educators, right? Homeschooling parents, that YouTube is our ish right here. Because you can go back in the past and see what was it called? I forgot what it was called. Hot seat. I forgot what it was called. But you can see debates in the 60s, 70s. Thomas Sowell used to debate this lady from the welfare administration. That used to be televised events. But now, 2024, the most connected we ever been as a country, as a human species, and we're not televising open debates anymore? Politicians don't even want to have debates anymore. People just want to talk on their soap. That's why podcasts are so popular. That's why whatever is so popular. That's why Fresh and Fit, no matter how repetitive the content is, people like the interaction between a man making his position known, women putting out their position known, and seeing how the two parties react to each other, putting out opinions like that they say in the echo chamber that get claps, but they see how those things get challenged. It's craziness out here, right? Before I go back, I want to look into the comments. Seems like people will be selling off their coastal properties real quick. Good point. Makes a big difference where you are standing on the planet. It does. But let's get back. Let's get back.
Could be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years.
You have sea ice, which is melting at a rate that
This is the guy I was talking about. His name was not John Kelly. It was John Kerry. My bad.
Arctic Ocean now increasingly is exposed. In 5 years, scientists predict we will have the first ice-free Arctic.
Well, the scientists have predicted these extraordinary
and they've been wrong. Like, there's one thing, like, I'm sorry, I keep pausing it. If you legitimately believe that climate change is a problem, at least you'll be humble enough to admit, hey, this prediction was wrong. Here's why we got it wrong. Here's how we got it wrong. We may have been overzealous with our prediction or our forecasting for this. You think they do it? No, because these people ain't humble. It wasn't about the climate in the first place. It was just merely a pretext for you to give up power. That's it. They just wanted you to give up power. It's almost insanity to me, like how these people, and it's the mainstream media too, because they know the mainstream media is on their side. They won't cover their gaffes or where they mess up. And then they slander Fox News so much that even if you bring it up, oh, that's a clip from Fox News is fake news, because the liberal audience has been conditioned to reject information based on who gave them information. Imagine that. If Trump say 2 + 2 is 4, they say Trump is wrong. Trump is a liar. I was taught by my masters at CNN to say that. Instead of arguing what the message was, what the statement was, instead of evaluating the argument for argument's sake, you evaluate the argument based on who said it. This is how the liberal media has conditioned many Americans. Fox News put out a clip, hey, 2009, Al Gore was wrong about this. Why are we still trusting Al Gore about predictions about climate change? Instead of a liberal saying, oh, hey, that's a good valid point. Some liberals will say that. Many liberals, or many leftists, I say, will say, oh, you got your news from Fox News? It's fake. They're lying. They took them out of context. It lacks context. The liberals' favorite cope. It lacks context. I digress.
catastrophic events for going on decades now. And the fact that they were dead right, maybe a little conservative even in their
they were wrong,
should cause us to pay more careful attention to what they're warning us about now. The survival of our civilization is at stake.
The climate business pays big bucks. He's worth something like $300 million.
It's fake news. It's fake news, Kenny. Don't watch Fox News. It's fake. It's obviously a lie. So what if he makes a lot of money from it? I don't see how that's cause for bad faith arguments. I'm like, yo, he don't have an incentive to lie about the threat of climate change, the climate danger. That's what I care about. I care about climate danger. How likely is this going to happen? How can you sit here with such bravado, with such confidence, After you've been proven wrong for decades, every prediction these people put has been wrong, and they expect to have the same credibility, and you getting rich being wrong. The incentive structure is all effed up in the Democratic Party and on the left. The left get paid. The more wrong they are, the more they get paid. Imagine that. This is why they can believe crap like truth is subjective. Oh, it's my truth. It don't matter what the predictions were wrong 6,500 times. It could be wrong the 6,700th time. By then, you lost all credibility and no one's going to trust you. To me, the climate change fanatics, they have to earn their credibility again. Because they have lost it over decades. They ain't just 1-2 years, not 1 or 2 times. No, decades y'all been wrong. Decades y'all prediction has not come into fruition. Oh, the climate's going to collapse 2013. 11 years later, we still here breathing. It just hit the hottest year last year. It was 1 degree hotter. Wow. I'm supposed to be scared of that. Instead of 67 degrees, it was 88 degrees in Miami. What a difference. After how many years you've been complaining about global warming? And that's it? Only 1 degree hotter? I want to wait until next year. See where it goes. I bet it goes down because it fluctuates. I swear, these people.
He's got a $2.5 million house in Nashville with a $30,000 utility bill. And he just bought a $9 million villa on the ocean in California. Better be high up, Al, because the rising sea levels might flood the foyer.
Yeah. Getting rich. No one, like, if you're a black, like, that's all I find funny about these climate change people. If you're a black guy and you're conservative, they call you a grifter. But a guy who's been arguing for climate change, pushing climate change, dramatizing it, making it like he's in some movie, lied time after time, been proven wrong. And he don't get called a grifter. Climate change alarmists don't get called grifters. But people who have an opinion about something that doesn't go with what the majority of their people think it should go. Oh, grifter! Because I believe that society will be better going this direction instead of going this direction. I'm a grifter. Saying stuff that I believe in makes me a grifter. But this climate change expert here, Al Gore, make millions pushing his message after objectively, factually, data keeps coming out suggesting that he's wrong. Over decades. It's just not 1 or 2 years. It's not an election. Decades. And he's still supposed to have credibility. This is the problem with our knowledge system. Now, another problem with our knowledge system is that we do not, a lot of people on the left do not give people on the right an honest, discussion. They don't want to have discussion. They focus on trying to disprove you at every moment. If you don't believe me, look at Trump's town hall, what he did with CNN with the Christine Carroll. I forgot her name. Kristen Carroll. I don't know. It was supposed to be a town hall, but she's sitting here opening her mouth every other word that Trump says to fact check him, aka making sure that I still condition my audience to not believe what this man is saying. Try to discredit this man as often as I can so our audience don't get converted by what he has to say. But people like Thomas Sowell, they never had him on and never have him on. Fox News have them on, but they condition you. Fox News is fake news. No other news sources are covering it. All the other news sources are left wing, by the way. They never mentioned that. Well, none of the other news sources are covering this story. This is fake. Fox News is fake. They're the only ones. Fake news. Really? You're going to compare a right-leaning media organization and you compared it to 5 other media organizations that lean left, are left, or extremely left. And you're going to pretend that, oh, yeah, I'm objective. Make it make sense. She's a nasty person, as Trump said. But I digress, right? This is the difference. This is what drove me to Thomas Sowell and why I consider him like my intellectual mentor. Is he helped me create my model of how do I verify and test information. He made me an empiricist, right? Because a lot of people, especially in our mainstream media, when they say truth is subjective, they're taking a rationalist point of view. They're taking a relationist point of view. They're saying, hey, truth is relation to you. If racism benefits you, you're gonna believe it exists. If racism doesn't benefit you, you're gonna believe it don't exist. This is how they play the my truth versus your truth idiocy. When it should be about, hey, is racism a legitimate problem in this country or not? Can two black people have disproportionate outcomes? Yes. Based on factors other than their race? Yes. Then how can you say racism is a problem in our country? This is some of the tests that you have to put, because end of the day, this is my philosophy. Test a theory in reality. And if reality show you your theory is wrong, you must accept that your theory is wrong. But not people on the left. Not emotional people. They'll see that their theory is wrong and they'll say, I can do it another way. I'm gonna keep going, because they don't want data to tell them the truth. They want data to confirm what they already believe. And I think that's the problem in our culture today. This is the number one reason why our knowledge system is flawed. But I digress. Let's get into this video with Thomas Sowell. Just give me a second. Like I said, guys, my stuff has been like broken, so now I can't share stuff as fluently as I used to. But let's get back into the video.
Tom, we'll begin with a quotation. Then candidate Barack Obama in July 2008, quote, "It's like these guys, Republicans, take pride in being ignorant. They should go talk to some experts and actually make a difference," close quote.
Well, bro, it's a quick point, guys. Imagine, you need to talk to some experts. You mean the experts that's heavily donate to your party, heavily registered as your party, heavily identify with your party, come from an institution that's 12-1 outnumber a conservative. For every one conservative, there's 12 liberals. These are the experts you want me to trust? And you get mad that I distrust somebody? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Oh, you got to listen to these people who confirm everything that I believe or make arguments in favor of my stances, my policy positions, my approach to the world. And if you don't believe them, then, you're a science denier. Science is about testing your ideas, testing your theories, not having someone in authority validate your theories. That's what our science has become. That's what our knowledge system has become. Is someone in authority validating your ideas instead of letting the idea stand on its own and validating itself. That's what's going on with our knowledge system. That's the problem in our culture today. That's the problem with mainstream media. I digress.
Talking to experts does make a difference. Many of the great disasters of our time have been committed by experts. You may remember FDR's brain trust, which according to later studies prolonged the depression by several years. The whiz kids in the Pentagon under McNamara, who managed to mess up the Vietnam War. You can run through an impressive list of things, of disasters brought about by people with very high IQs.
All right. Segment 1, the species of the intellectual. When you refer to intellectuals in society, whom do you mean?
I mean people whose end products are ideas. There are other people with great intelligence whose end products are things like the Salk vaccine. A
research scientist is not necessarily an intellectual.
That's right.
An engineer isn't necessarily an intellectual.
That's right. Because the engineer is judged by the end product, which is not simply ideas.
And I think that's the biggest difference between many people on the left, is that they love to live in the theoretical. And that's been my biggest argument, that the left love the theoretical, because the theoretical, they can live in hypotheticals. They can live in hyperbole. They can live in, there's this outcome. They can live in rational. They can live in fantasy land. They can live in imagination. But when you're an empiricist, you live in reality. Hey, what's the results of my ideas? Climate change, big example. It could happen. 50 years, the world could get burned into fire, and we could say, I told you so. But based on the evidence, based on your previous track records, the results show that you don't know what you're talking about. That you have a flawed model, as someone in my chat, 22 Gurus has said. You have a flawed model in predicting what's actually going to happen. So we should not trust you based on the results, climate alarmists. We shouldn't trust anything you have to say. We have to assume that everything a climate alarmist says is exaggerated and dramatized. That's it. That's what reality shows us. That's what reality showed me. That's what the results speak for itself. Because data does not prove a narrative. Data proves a results, and the results are in. Climate change is just a exaggerated anxiety tantrum. This is why you have to condition the youth with these emotional appeals, so that way they get conditioned to it like a religion. This is the problem. It is not scientific. When they say trust the science, it's trust our religion, trust our ideology, trust our bias. That's the left. That's the biggest flaw of our knowledge system. People are using dogma and presenting it as if it's knowledge. How well do you know the dogma? If you don't know the dogma that much, or you don't believe what the dogma says to believe, then you're a bigot. AKA, you don't believe in science. You're a science denier. What the Bible used to call people, oh, you're a Christian denier, you're a Jesus denier, you're a God denier. That's what they used to call atheists. Now, what skeptical people get called science deniers. You see how the tone is religious? Atheists complain about, oh my God, religious zealots are the problem in this country. The pot calling the kettle black. The same atheist will believe that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man. Something immaterial. Materially, you can never be a woman. You can never be a man. You came in this world as a man. You're going to die as a man. But cosmetic, oh yeah, we changed the appearance. Yeah, you're a woman. Most atheist people I know will believe that nonsense. But God forbid I believe that, oh, a creator created us, that our life has meaning. There's one objective source of truth in the world. Oh, you believe in a daddy in the sky. You're delusional. Craziness. I really believe that religion is a part of human nature. We have this need to want something bigger than ourselves. It's encoded in our nature. I believe that was put into by a creator, yearning to find him, right? Because that's how science began. Religion created science. They don't tell you about that part though. That's how flawed our knowledge system is. They consider religion and science different when really it's the same. Religion was meant to be a constraint that guide people's reasoning. Hey, there's order in the world. Religion put that presumption in people's mind to pursue science, to test ideas, to test theories. Hey, we can find how things work because there's order in the world. Without religion, men will think, oh, it's chaotic. Nothing has meaning. Therefore, there's no relation, there's no correlation. It's so crazy how everything kind of it lends itself towards like one outcome, that it's an ordered universe. There has to be a cause for this ordered universe. An intellectual design. That's the argument for intellectual design. But atheists going to sit here in their smug hubris thinking they know it, they're know-it-alls, when really they don't know nothing. Make it make sense. This is why atheism is losing its stance in our culture now. That's why everyone wants to dunk on atheists now. That's why you got atheists admitting that, yeah, I'm culturally a Christian. I just don't believe in the book. Oh, but look at the results of it, though. It has to be made by God, because every time the Bible makes an argument for something, it turns to be right. The Bible predicted Big Bang Theory. Now science just confirmed what the Bible already said. That's scientific theory. That's science. You have a theory, test it out. If it ends up being the case, gives more validity to the person or to the thing that made the argument, aka the Bible. The Bible said there's only man and woman. Transgenderism, they spent 30, I don't know how many years, still can't prove it wrong. You die, you go into your bones, your hips. Women's hips have a certain width and length. A man's hip have a certain width and length. When your ass die, people know you were born a man, no matter how much cosmetic you do up here. Craziness. Test your theories in reality, and reality will show you if your theory is wrong. That's the principles we live by. And I think that if most Americans just look at the results, look at the 2024 election. Trump's presidency versus Biden presidency. It's not hypothetical. You can't doom your way out of this. That's why Trump is surging in the polls. This is why more black people are willing to support Trump openly. Because now you have your case studies. Here's 4 years of Trump's presidency. Here's his policy positions. Here's the results of his policy positions. Here's the outcomes that his policy positions created. Look at Biden's policy positions. Look at what he put out. Look what he did. Look at the results. More government spending, more inflation. He cut the oil pipeline. Gas went up. He lowered the gas. How he lowered the gas? He dug into our strategic oil reserve to artificially lower the price of gas. Now this stuff that's going on with Iran, gas is going to go right back up. just in time for the election. We've been in a semi-recession for a long time, since 2021. But then he had his goons in the media, the overwhelmingly left media, framing and saying, oh, it's not really a recession. Even though technically it is, this recession is different. It's always different when it's done. You never notice that? It's always different. But oh, you nothing to see here. World's on fire. It's fine. Democrats. Someone needs to make that argument. So, AD, yo, what's up? Combined with the internet leads to disaster. Exactly. Lies are a form of evil, in my opinion. It is a form of evil. Actually, I forgot. Intentional lies is a form of evil. Sometimes people just got misinformed, misinformation, right? And they just went with something they thought was true. That's normal. That's ignorance. That's fine. But being intentional, saying, hey, I know there's evidence out there that challenge what I have to say, but I'm gonna frame it as, oh, no intellectual person can deny science. No intellectual person can say that climate change is not real. Climate change is real. It's called the 4 seasons. I just don't think is as much of a problem as someone who does. That's the difference. But instead, they straw man you, say you're a science denier. Try to discredit you, try to shame you. This is why, experts are taking L. And then they wonder why America don't trust our institutions anymore. Why America don't trust the media anymore. Why America don't trust cops anymore. True, I'm talking about the Jamie Raskins or the Goldman types. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get back into it. This is why you never trust experts from the government, especially from the government. I digress. Let's get back in.
If he builds a building that collapses, it doesn't matter how brilliant his idea was, he's ruined. Conversely, if an intellectual who's brilliant has an idea for rearranging society, and that ends in disaster, he pays no price at all.
I see. Let me quote intellectuals in society, quote, "The fatal misstep of intellectuals is assuming that superior ability within a particular realm can be generalized to superior wisdom or morality overall. Chess grandmasters, musical prodigies, and others who are as remarkable within their respective specialties as intellectuals within theirs seldom make that mistake." Explain that. Why would it? Well, let's take an example. Noam Chomsky, whom you write about in Intellectuals in Society, whose work in linguistics, in the first place, I can't understand it, but as best I can tell, everyone who understands his technical work within the field, within his discipline of linguistics, considers him one of the great figures of the 20th century. And his work in politics?
Absurdity. The same could be said of Bertrand Russell and his landmark works on mathematics.
I think it's intellectual hubris, right? It's this idea that you don't need to do the work because you did the work in some other thing, right? I'm good at basketball, therefore I should be good at math. Or vice versa. I'm good at math, but therefore I should be good at basketball. When in reality, it's skill. It's a skill, right? Learning politics is a skill, right? Just because you did engineering, right? You're smart. You show you have good capabilities to learn complex topics and simplify them in digestible ways, sure. But end of the day, knowledge is either you know it or you don't. That's it. And that's a skill. And if someone has spent more time, if I told you, hey, I spent 5 hours studying about politics and you spent 5 hours studying on math and you test me on politics, you test both of us on politics, who's going to do better on the test? Your winning bet will be the person who spent more time on politics. Even if the person has a higher IQ, even if the person graduated valedictorian out of his high school and you're the dumbest kid in the class, you spend 5 hours learning about politics, the other person spent 5 hours doing math. It doesn't matter how much of on paper, he seems the most impressive. It's about the results. And that's what I've been talking about for the longest. People focus too much on paper. Oh my God, this guy graduated from Harvard, Yale. This is how they get you. This is how the left gets you. Because the left goes, oh, the Democrats got the educated vote. Educated people are more likely to vote Democrat. They know something we don't. Oh, there's this idea that college educated people are smarter than non-college educated people. When really, I make the argument is no, they're just more conditioned to think a certain worldview compared to other people. Who's the smart one? Someone who went to debt to get a college degree that on the odds of them working in the fields of their choice is like what, 22%? Most college people who graduate from college, a majority of them do not work in the field they went to college for. Does that sound like a smart choice to you? I'm just saying, if you're looking at the results, you went to debt just to work a job that you could got without going to debt. Make it make sense. But that's the status symbol. That's the status symbol. And that's what I'm talking about. The left is not trying to create educated people. They're trying to create a credential. And they're trying to make sure that all their people have a certain credential as a verification that you're part of the team. This is why they focus on college education. Oh, these people aren't trained journalists. YouTube, you need to censor these people, these independent commentators online, because they're not real journalists. They didn't go to journalism school like I did and get indoctrinated by an ideological church called the college system that's overwhelmingly liberal. They didn't go through that conditioning. They didn't go through that education. They shouldn't allow to have this job. Bureaucracy, filtering system, right? Because we've been sold, oh, people who get a college degree make $1 million more than people who don't. I didn't finish college. I have a 2-year degree. And my argument for why I don't think that stat is actually true or should not even be making that correlation is that smart people or people who are ambitious will do what's required to get their outcomes. If you tell a smart person, hey, the only way you can get a high-paying job, be successful, be a CEO of a company one day is you have to get your bachelor's degree, does it make sense that these people who want to do well in life will get a college degree? But if you told that same smart person, hey, there's different ways you can become could get this outcome, you think they'll go to college? Maybe not. College already filters for the best and brightest students. So are you saying that college can take credit for making Mark Zuckerberg, or Harvard accepted Mark Zuckerberg because he was already smart before he got there? Make it make sense. College already filters for the best and brightest students. So it's no surprise that the brightest and smartest students or people make more money. And then they try to make a correlation with their college. It's a Ponzi scheme. This is why people say college is a scam. There's stats out there that show that there's a large minority of people who sees no difference between their, their knowledge of things or concepts or events after 4 years of college. Some people felt like they didn't learn anything in college. But I'm supposed to believe that, oh, because I get a piece of paper, that I'm destined to make $1 million more than someone who didn't go to college. It's the question again. Would you be 6-figure in debt, making 6 figures, or no college debt and making 87K a year as a plumber? Over the lifetime of the loan, you're going to make more money than the guy, especially if you invest it. What's the smart choice? I think that will prove more intelligence than someone getting a piece of paper. And this is why college is being this is why I don't respect college. I don't respect college whatsoever. Because I believe it's just your certification saying, hey, I've been indoctrinated. I see getting a college degree like someone getting a certificate from the church. Oh, look, you learn everything about the Bible. Oh, okay. Same thing with the college system. Oh, you learn everything about wokeism. Oh, you learn everything about the leftism. Oh, you've been propagandized to be a certified activist. Ask those people in Google. That's what the college system. This is what the college system has become. And if we don't wake up to it, right? That's what I'm saying. The Republican Party, bro. They to me they dropped the ball on the marketing part, because I see this is how I see the Republican Party. The Republican Party is that guy that has good ideas, but he's scared to say it. I see the Republican Party as a guy that has a good product, but don't know how to sell it. That's how I see the Republican Party. And the Democrat Party is that slick salesman. Newsom is the guy I'm thinking about. And he has a crappy product, but he can sell the hell out of it. And that's the difference. And I think that's what is that's what's swaying our election right now. And carbon copies of each other to boot. Hey, this is why you need change. This is why I took what my dad told me seriously. My dad had a conversation with me. We ended up talking for a long time. And he told me, he told me everything that happened in Haiti, how corruption happened, how essentially it destroyed itself, how Haiti squandered its freedom. My dad had this little long talk with me. And he looked at me and said, it's going to be up to you young people to fix this. I said, man, I don't know, Dad, man. These people, he said, he said, hey, look, it's up to y'all, because if y'all don't want our country to go up like Haiti, right? Destroyed like Haiti, y'all better take this is why my dad voted for Trump. He's like, in Haiti, he said, I'm a nationalist in Haiti. So when Trump was saying, he's doing what's best for America, he said, I can understand. Because my dad's like, if it was Haiti and Haiti said we don't want these people coming in our borders, my dad said I would agree with him. So why should my sentiment change? Because now my people who happen to, Haitians, right, that's crossing the border, my dad's like, no, he has to look out for his people. Or else if you're not looking out for your people, who's looking out for them? Nobody. Everyone's gonna be looking to what? Take advantage of your people. And that's what my dad learned from Haiti. And he said, and that's the kind of the lessons or the political lessons that he passed on to me. That if a country doesn't look out for its own interest, it's merely opening itself up to get taken advantage by others. That's what my father told me. This is why the left don't want fathers in the homes. Because I honestly believe what saved me was not because I grew up in Miami, grew up around a bunch of Hispanics. It's the fact that I had a father in my life who was curious about the country he immigrated to. I think that what saved me, honestly. Because I told you, look, I turned 18. My mom tried to force me to put myself as a Democrat. I said, nah, I don't know nothing about this party. I'm gonna put independent until I can decide, until I do my research. My dad was the reason that happened. My dad talking about, oh yeah, I voted for Clinton, then I voted for Bush. My dad was an actual independent. Now he's a hardcore Republican right now because he's like, yo, no, Trump, only Trump. My dad's like, only Trump. My dad told me a funny story how 2020, he lives in Maryland. He went to the voting booth and he told the voting people, I'm gonna vote for Trump. I said, Dad, you gonna get beat up. He started laughing. He said, I don't care. Because he said, I just want to work, do my thing. Government, get out of my way, man. Just take care of everything. I got the rest. That's the kind of father that I was raised by. And I'm smiling right now because I feel proud of my dad. Like I honestly do. Right? I think he passed down some good morals, some good traditions, and I hope to carry that forward. So, in the span of time, I went on a long tirade right there, but I kind of want to speed through this because I really felt like it's important to say. James Lindsay pointed out the Kennedys. The Kennedys has endorsed Joe Biden for presidency, and this is another thing about our flawed knowledge system. Like, who gives a damn about all these? I want to say nepo babies, but who cares about all these people living off the legacy of their once great family member? I don't give a damn about your last name. Who are you to tell me who why should I care about your endorsement?
My name is Joe Kennedy.
I'm Carrie Kennedy. Roy Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy Townsend.
Chris Kennedy. And I'm here to proudly endorse Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Our future.
Or future ballot.
In a way in which we haven't seen in generations.
Like, why should I care about these people? Because they have a famous last name? They didn't earn that last name. They just happened to be born with that last name. Well, all of a sudden, their endorsement supposed to have some type of weight? Ghastly. Communists always weaponize families against rogue members. Right? Instead of supporting, and this is cowardice to me. Like, I don't care about politics. Like, let's say I had my younger brother. Let's say he ran as a Democrat. Right? I'll say, hey, look, I just agree with my brother. I don't really see any brother, but I'm not going to endorse his direct rival. What? I was like, no, look, I'm not going to say who I'm voting for, but I'm supporting my brother. But to come out openly like this, come on, Sway. This is crazy. And I hope we get to an America where people are not like swayed by influencers like this. Now, there's another thing that's been coming up recently, and I think I want to end off the video with this one, is the electoral college. Now, this is another thing about our flawed knowledge system, is that the fact that our education system is so crappy that people believe we're a democracy, and they get mad when their candidate loses, even though they won the popular vote. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but she still lost the election. How is this fair? Because we're not a democracy, idiot. But our school system, and this is what I'm talking about. This is why I said this is a threat to our knowledge system. Because imagine if we get to a point where people wholeheartedly believes that America is a democracy, right? And we still doing things by the electoral college, and the politicians go, we're a democracy, yet we let the popular candidate, the popular vote, lose because he won a bunch of states. How's that democracy? And people are gonna go, yeah, that don't make any sense. We've been taught generations on generations that this is a democracy. The electoral college does not reflect this worldview that the society has. And boom, they change the system. This is what happens when you have a flawed knowledge system. This is what happens when you don't know why we're built as an electoral college. Right? And we're going to give an education because people, the authoritative sources will say, oh, invalidate, changing the electoral college is a valid stance. In this video, it's 3 minutes, so it shouldn't take too long, and then I'll wrap up soon. I'll try to give it a 1 minute, breathing room for 1 minute and 50 seconds. They're going to go down to why the electoral college exists and why the U.S. will fail without the electoral college. Let's take a look.
Electoral college even exist, and would it really be so bad if it just went away? Critics of the Electoral College often highlight its potential to produce a president who did not win the popular vote. And this has happened 5 times in American history, and each time the losing side has decried the outcome as an undemocratic travesty. What's more, opponents of the Electoral College also like to point out that our current system results in just a handful of states deciding the outcome of each presidential election, leaving vast swaths of the country completely ignored during campaigns. And on the face of it, these criticisms seem compelling. In fact, the latest polling shows that roughly 2/3 of all Americans agree with these two arguments and support a...
Most Democrats support moving to a popular vote for presidents, while Republicans are more divided. Why are the sorry guys, I slipped up there. But why are Democrats more willing to get the popular vote? I bet you if Republicans was winning the popular vote and Democrats weren't winning the popular vote but still winning elections, you think they'll be pushing for changing the electoral college? That's a no, bro. That's a no, dog. No, they won't. They wouldn't be pushing for changing the electoral college because they don't benefit from it. Democrats only support stuff that they benefit from. They want high voter turnout because they realize low information voters tend to vote Democrat. That's why they want high turnout. But if they found out low information voters voted Republican, they don't want high voter turnout. This is why I say the Democrat Party is a very Machiavellian party, communist party, right? They do what's necessary. This is why they believe truth is subjective. The truth is what they need it to be. They need the truth to be this. Therefore, they push this. Hey, this is not democracy. This is not very democratic. Is the U.S. a democracy? No. There was a senator, a Democratic senator, I forgot her name, but she misquoted Benjamin Franklin and tried to pretend that was an actual quote. Remember what our founding fathers say? It's a democracy if you can keep it. And everyone owned her on X. They're like, yo, he said if it's a republic if you can keep it. This is what happened. These politicians, especially on the left, I told you, this is my argument. Democrats have the monopoly on the low-informed voter. Tell me I'm lying. Hollywood's behind them. You got every celebrity that openly supports them, but God forbid a celebrity openly supports Trump, he'll get canceled, demonized. It's so they have such the media, the entertainment system on lock that a passive, low-information voter would passively be just a Democrat, be a liberal. Education system, all in favor of the Democrats. So in my view, Democrats have a monopoly on the low information voter. Most low information voters will tend to vote Democrat. This is why they love voter turnout. And this is why a lot of people are like, yo, democracy, this is why democracy fails. This is why democracy always destroys itself. This is why democracy is idiocy. This is why Karl Marx has warned and even bragged about how democracy leads to socialism and socialism is a transitional point to communism. Karl Marx said that. And if we eliminate the electoral college, we'll be one step closer to what? Socialism. But you people care? No, they don't care. They're just like, oh, my team's going to win. Right? They just want politicians to campaign only on the big states because there's more people in California than some states combined. If you went by popular vote, if California voted against Vermont and say, hey, we want to eliminate Vermont out of the union, and it was a vote between California and Vermont loses. It don't matter how it shakes up. 10% of California can show up to vote and it'll still outvote Vermont even at 100%. This is why the electoral college exists. Because democracy is mob rule, tyranny of the majority. This is why the founding fathers didn't make us a democracy. They made us a republic for a reason. Representative government. People in Vermont should decide what to do in Vermont. If Vermont wants to leave the union, Vermont has to decide. Not California, not Texas, not Florida, not New York. Vermont. And only Vermont's votes matter in that circumstance. That's a representative government. That's not democracy. But it's craziness. Craziness. But I digress. We're gonna let it ride because I gotta put the kiddos to sleep. They're already crying. So let's go.
Abolishing the Electoral College. But the thing is, there are two hidden factors that are often ignored in this debate that together reveal why it would be a disaster if the Electoral College were ever abolished. The first deals with the nature of the United States itself. Critics of the Electoral College like to present the United States as a single unitary state. But what they often ignore is that America is a federal republic of 50 co-equal states, each with its unique history, identity, and needs.
That's why a part of me like kind of wants a kind of more a power shift more away from the federal government and more towards the states. I know this is why a lot of conservatives like to push the Confederate flag, not because they support slavery, racism, and all this other stuff that the left tries to straw man conservatives into, but it's more of appreciation for, hey, even though they use the argument for evil or bad ends or immoral ends that we don't agree with, using state rights to justify keeping slavery, state rights as an issue by itself is something that's worth considering. Hey, should states have more rights over itself than others? This is why I say I like the abortion thing that happened with the Supreme Court. Leave the abortion up to the states. Let the states decide what to do with abortion. To me, that's constitutionally sound. Let the states decide. That's not in the federal government's power. Because if the federal government do it, it's authoritarianism. If Florida do it, it's just democracy, right? But we all must have abortion. We all must have abortion ban. No, just let these liberals eliminate themselves out of the gene pool, and then later in 20 generations ago we'll ban abortion down the line because all the liberals will depopulate themselves. Just let them, like when an enemy is doing, look, there's one thing I learned from the Bible. You know why they let sin is its own punishment, right? You do things that's against the Bible, you suffer a consequence. That's one thing I tend to notice. If you do dumb ideas, if you do a dumb approach, you suffer the consequences of it. It becomes a hell of its own making. Liberals have less kids than conservatives. Okay, if the trend continues, eventually the future is conservative. Okay, so let them have it. Let them have their cake. Let them eat cake. Oh, you want your cake so bad? Okay, here, have it. Abortion till birth. Okay, go ahead, have it. And then when they're like, damn, California is not replacing itself at a certain rate. The red states are repopulating themselves. Hey, how come the red states are getting more population numbers? It's because we're having more kids in our state. More kids survive. Less kids are killed in our state than your state. And then when the electoral map shifts, and this is a generational thing. This is a long-term strategy, right? Right? We outbreed you. Right? It's the same problem with the Muslims. This is why people are scared of the Muslims. The Muslims are having kids, and then they're gonna outbreed everybody at this point, and everything's gonna be a Muslim country. That's their strategy. Long-term play, but hey, I can respect it because they believe in something higher than themselves. And I think a country that doesn't have that, you're not gonna stand up and fight for your country if you don't believe it's worth fighting for. And that's this demoralizing idea that's been happening in our education system. Another problem in our knowledge system. We're taught to hate our own country to the point where we don't care about what is in the best interest of our country. The Electoral College is in the best interest of the country, especially your state. You don't like. I digress. I like yours.
America is in fact a republic of republics. The Electoral College ensures that each state, regardless of its size, has a voice in the election of the president. In fact, it's precisely why the United States was able to be formed in the first place, because smaller states like Rhode Island and Connecticut wouldn't have willingly joined the Union if they knew that larger states like Virginia or New York could simply rule over them. Removing this mechanism risked reducing the role of smaller states to mere spectators in a national election dominated by a few populous regions. This would leave people of smaller states feeling even more alienated and ignored by Washington, D.C. than they already are, only further fueling America's growing urban-rural divide. While critics argue that 49% of Americans shouldn't be allowed to rule over 51%, what they often ignore is that the United States was never meant to be a purely majoritarian system.
Exactly. And also, I'll even throw the argument back in their face. 51% of the population should be able to dictate what 49% of the population want to do. Oh, that's just democracy. So if 51% of the, because there's more, it seems like there's more, because California is what sways the popular vote in favor of a Democrat. If California decides, hey, we want to extinct all the conservatives, and we vote on it, and it was like it broke even 51% to 49%. You should be allowed to kill a large swath of people because the majority of people said so. You expect those people to just go quietly into the night? Hell no. It's the same issue with abortion. But hey, you think these make it make sense? This is why I say democracy don't work. It's tyranny of the majority. What if the majority is wrong? You doom the country into failure. I mean, this is why I'm just saying. This is why the Electoral College is such a good system. And end of the day, a popular vote isn't a better system, it's a worse system.
The Electoral College works to disperse the power rather than consolidate it all in the hands of whoever can seize control of the federal government. And it does this by making it harder to seize political power simply through the strength of raw numbers alone. Perhaps this is why many of the same critics of the Electoral College routinely demand for even more power and money to be concentrated into the hands of Washington, D.C. And this, more than anything else, explains why abolishing the Electoral College would be a disaster. Because in a country with a population of over 330 million people, the only ones who would benefit from a consolidation of political power in the hands of the federal government would be the government. The fact is that our federal elections have increasingly become a high-stakes power struggle where one side wins and then seeks to impose its will on the other. And this sort of zero-sum game not only threatens the very unity of our country, it breeds political resentment and radicalism. Rather than demanding that we should make it easier for one side to dominate over the other, we should be seeking ways to remove power from the hands of the federal government that it was never supposed to have in the first place.
Amen to that. That's why I believe that I think this should be more of a focus on state power, state rights, because I believe in decentralized power right now. I don't think that we should have this like centralized government, right? I think government should have a limited role in our day-to-day lives. I think state, I don't know, man. I'm reading on this thing where I want the government to be like chopped down, but that's not realistic right now. You know, people want their government. And this idea about opposing its will on the other, I think we wouldn't have this problem if we had a common foundation, right? And in the country, the common foundation used to be, hey, I'm a Democrat because I have a certain view of what's the best approach for America. And you have a certain view what's best for America, but we'll have a common interest is, hey, we're both picking this approach because we believe it's best for America. Our political culture is not surrounded by a common unity of the benefit of a country. It's a benefit of my political tribe. In our country, we have people who put politics over nation. Oh, what's best for my political party? Oh, if the economy goes down, my party could win the election. Fail economy, fail. Let's stop everyone from opening up their states to hurt the economy of the Republican presidents or a Democrat president can take over. Hurting the nation as a whole just so your party can win. This is the state of our political party today in 2024. And I think that's what's killing. That's what's the problem right now. Because we wouldn't have a problem with whoever's in government because it used to be back in the day that you had a national pride. You used to be proud of your country. But now we live in a day and age where one party hates our country. One party openly has disdain for our country, right? They preach death to America. They have people in their ranks that preaches death to America. They hate America. They say America was never great, yet there are congressmen in the United States government. And you have another party that is too cowardice to really stand up for what it truly believes in. Really take what the people that voted them into power want them to do. Instead, they fold to the other side because they like the opinions of ideologically dominated media, and they want to cater to them, and they try to be moderate. Right. So we have one party that's scared to fight for its ideals and another doing anything that any means necessary to continue pushing forth its bad ideas, even at the detriment and destruction of its country. Back in the 90s, back in the 1960s, culturally, America was more united. In the 1960s, culturally, America was more united. Even if you had a Democratic president, you knew, okay, he might tax me a little bit more, but for the most part, common sense. Like we agree with these things in common. Now it's not like that anymore. Both parties have a completely different vision of the world. Even within the party, there's two completely different camps in there. We the people and united we stand used to mean something. Exactly. It used to mean something. Now it doesn't. Now all you see, and this is why I want limited government now. That's why I want a limited federal government. That's why I want more power in the hands of the states now. Because centralized power can only work in a unified culture. We don't have a unified culture anymore. We have a fragmented culture. And if there's a fragmented culture, I believe you need a decentralized power. Because then it just becomes whoever's in power will try to impose his will on everyone else. That's why I like the fact that abortion was left up to the states. I think a lot of things should be left up to the states. Because I think that allowing these bad actors to gain power through a centralized government in Washington, D.C., misuse FBI, the Patriot Act, all this other stuff, I think a lot of this stuff will be tempered if states had more power in our union. But I digress. That's just my thoughts about it. I would like to hear yours. Thanks for watching to the end. I really do appreciate you guys and your viewership. I really appreciate the support you guys have been giving me. I know haven't been popping out content like I used to. This new job is really killing me, but you got to do what you got to do. So I'll try to make it up for you. I appreciate the Freedom Caucus. I do too, 22 Gurus. I appreciate you watching till the end, man. I really do appreciate your support. AD, Tim, I don't know who else is on there. Scotland Scorpion. I appreciate all of you guys for joining me on the super chat, on the chats. I hope to see you guys on the next live stream. Hope you guys have a good weekend. I'll catch you guys on the next stream. Peace.